Good evening, viewers. Welcome to this session. Welcome, Leena, and welcome to all the others who have joined us. There's a lot of news that we would like to cover tonight, and we start with the Iran and Israel and US war that's going on. So let's move on to the latest news, and that's So now Iran postpones Khamenei's farewell as Israel threatens to kill his successor. So Israel's defense minister says next leader is going to be the target for assassination as Iranians prepare to mourn Khamenei in Tehran. Now funeral arrangements are ongoing and are expected to draw huge crowds, and with them the potential threat of US-Israeli attacks on a gathering of mass mourning. Some 10 million people attended Ayatollah Khomeini's funeral in 1989. The report comes hours after Mahmoudi, head of Iran's Islamic Propagation Council, has initially said the farewell ceremony would start at 10 p.m. at Tehran's Imam Khomeini Prayer Hall and continue for 3 days. Meanwhile, there are many other reports coming in that Khomeini was not, the kind of pious man that he projected, that he owned properties in Venezuela, Syria, Dubai, UK, Spain, hotels in Madrid and Marbella and Palma. And all of these are used by his children. And his fortune is supposed to be over 200 billion. So what they project and what they really own is completely the opposite. And you also know the kind of horror that the women in Iran have been facing, especially young girls who forget to wear the veil, and how they are tortured in jails, and the kind of massacre that's been going on. So totally, I think if you look at the Iranians, most of the Iranians abroad are actually celebrating the kind of regime change that they are seeing now, and they're hoping that it could finally change Iran for the good. Meanwhile, moving on to the strike itself. Now, US-Israel strike latest is that Iran targets US bases in Iraq. And Israel and US continue to attack Iran's capital, Tehran, on the 6th day. Iran has said it has no intention of negotiating with USA and will continue the war. If they want to see an end, Iran want Gulf leaders to expel Americans, remove all the US bases from their countries. Now we're talking about the Middle East. His warning came as the war between US, Israel and Iran entered its 6th day, widening beyond the Gulf countries as Tehran remains defiant in the face of waves of attacks. Iran has warned all countries in the Gulf countries to expel all Americans from their territories and ensure the complete removal of all US military bases, directly linking American military presence to recent escalations as Tehran continues to attack. So how I see this is that, we were in Iraq when the Iraq-Iran war started, and Saddam Hussein, perhaps just like Trump, felt that it would be an easy war and that he would win. And what happened was the war just kept on extending, because Iran is not the type to cow down. They have enough forces, and they are also very adamant. They're not the type who will, quickly give up. They feel that, they are a very strong country, and they will not give in to blackmailing or, bossing around, especially in the way Trump is doing at the moment. So the war will continue, and of course, there are also media channels trying to project other false, stories. So you need to be really careful about what is actually true and what is just being pushed around. Now, moving on back to India. Now we're talking about Shubhankar Mishra. Shubhankar Mishra just traded the news desk for a bigger spotlight. When your YouTube following outnumbers most TV channels, even NDTV starts feeling like a warm-up act. So now this is something that people have been noticing, is that whenever you want to know the truth, or you want to know facts, you move to YouTube, where you have quite a few journalists who are running professional channels and do not hide the truth, unlike the mainstream media. Now, the journalist and digital star has reportedly stepped down from his role as consulting editor at NDTV, fueling fresh buzz around his fast-growing independent career. Mishra, widely recognized for his sharp takes on politics, geopolitics, entertainment, lifestyle, and cricket, commands a massive online audience, 78 lakh subscribers on YouTube and 15.3 million followers on Instagram. He first gained prominence anchoring at TV9 Bharatvarsh before moving on to Aaj Tak, where he announced his exit in 2023 via X. His career began in regional news with stints at India News Haryana and India News Uttar Pradesh, followed by Z Media between 2017 and 2018. Now, Mishra's shift from traditional television to digital content has been meteoric. His podcast-style videos and commentary resonate strongly with younger viewers, blending in-depth analysis with accessing proper storytelling kind of techniques. The reported departure from NDTV comes as his personal platforms continue to surge, positioning him as one of India's most influential independent voices in news and current affairs. In a media landscape where screens are multiplying, attention is the real currency. Mishra's journey from newsroom to YouTube stardom shows that sometimes the best scoop is building your own stage, one subscriber at a time. Now, this is also something that you will notice that is happening in Bollywood, for example. Bollywood used to mock YouTube and say that they are only YouTubers, trying to show that YouTubers are not significant at all. The moment Bollywood crashed and they were in the doldrums, all of them started jumping onto YouTube, whether it was Madhuri Dixit or whether it was Farah Khan or even Shatrughan Sinha's daughter. All useless programs, nothing of any value. But they felt that they could cash in on the name and use YouTube as a medium. And they started minting money because there are a lot of people who are starstruck. And they watch this not because they want to see the content, but to see these silly people's faces. So they had to eat their words, because now most of them, they've left, they don't have any movies in hand. And they are now YouTube people who tell you how to put makeup, or or which travel places you should go to. And you can make out it's not even sincere the way they do it, because if you take a Farah Khan channel, you'll understand that she's pushing advertisements. So she'll get every bartanwala to give their bartan free to the guest, whoever she visits in the kitchens, to make them cook. So she'll bring everything from, she'll just go to a supermarket and tell them that, see, just pay me so and so money and I'll give, your gifts free of charge to whichever star's kitchen she walks into. So this is, even the content is not so serious, as in, if it's a cooking show, is she really showing you proper cooking? No, she isn't. Half the time she's mocking her servant and trying to show him that he's illiterate, while she is a very intelligent human being. So I'm just using Farah as an example. Many of the Bollywood people have moved on to YouTube to now make an extra buck. So now even when you have people like Mishra moving into in a big way, now people realize that news on YouTube is much more effective than what comes on mainstream, because mainstream has their own sponsors and patrons who they have to please. So they half the time they will sugarcoat any story and give you only half the truth. Now, moving on to the kind of scenario that's happening in movies. Now, as you know, it's Holi time, and for the first time since 2011, the Indian film industry is facing a rare and unprecedented situation. The festival of Holi will pass without a single major Hindi film release. You remember time back, so many years back, it would be one Khan after the other pushing their movies. But now there's no Khan, there's not even a whisper of any Khan coming, because all you see is they come in these pan ads, or these silly, what you call bathroom, toilet cleaners and things like that. I mean, they've stooped down to such a level that they're even selling toilet cleaners. and things like, Harpic and things like that. And it shows one thing very clearly, that Bollywood has been hit massively, and this effect is being seen in what the actors are doing now, investing in restaurants and everything other than acting in films. So if you were to take see this 15-year streak, which previously delivered consistent box office hits like Race, Kesari and Badrinath Ki Dulhania, has now come to an end with 2026. While the absence of a festive release is a blow to exhibitors, the industry is left asking a very critical question. Are the upcoming mega tent poles, the Durandar, the Revenge and Yash Toxic, responsible for the seasonal drought? The answer lies in a mix of strategic hoardings and external scheduling challenges. Traditionally, the holy window is one of the most profitable periods for Bollywood, but in 2026, producers have opted for a collective wait and watch policy. A primary reason for this is the massive collision scheduled just days later on March 19th, with Durandar 2 and Toxic set to occupy nearly every available screen and dominate the marketing conversion. Mid-budget filmmakers have effectively surrendered the holy weekend to avoid being lost in the pre-clash promotional noise. So beyond the fear of being crushed by movies like Durandar and Yash Toxic, three major external factors have influenced the decision. The ongoing ICC T20 World Cup continues to divert significant evening audiences, making it a risky period for theatrical investments. Additionally, the Ramzan period traditionally sees lower attendance in key circuits, and the peak of academic examination season further limits the footfall of the core youth and family demographics. Consequently, big ticket films might have targeted Holi are now being hoarded for what they see as the Eid window. Now, moving on to the next piece of news, we have an update on Samir Wankare's case. Now, the Delhi High Court on Friday allowed the union government's plea challenging the Central Administrative Tribunal (CAT) order that had quashed disciplinary proceedings against Indian Revenue Services officer Samir Wankare. A division bench comprising Justice Anil Shetarpal and Justice Amit Mahajan set aside the tribunal's 19 January 2026 order, which had restrained the Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs from proceeding further against Wankhede. The petition is allowed, the bench says, while pronouncing the verdict. A detailed copy of the judgment is awaited. The disciplinary actions were initiated against Wankhede by CBIC following allegations linked to a preliminary inquiry conducted by a special inquiry team SET. The inquiry examined complaints against the officer arising from his role in the high-profile 2021 Cordelia Cruise drug seizure case while he was serving as the zonal director of the Narcotics Control Bureau in Mumbai. Actor Shah Rukh Khan's son Aryan Khan was arrested by the NCB, you remember, in connection with the case which drew nationwide attention. Subsequently, Samir Wankare came under scrutiny by multiple agencies, including the CBI and Directorate of Enforcement. In July 2023, CBI registered a corruption and extortion case alleging that Wankare and others demanded 25 crores from Shah Rukh Khan in exchange for not implicating Aryan Khan in the case. The departmental action stemmed from a charge memorandum issued on 18 August 2025. It alleged that despite his formal detachment from the NCB, Samir Wankare attempted to unauthorizedly access official and confidential information and sought to influence the course of investigation. The allegations were based on a call transcript dated June 22 between Wankare and the NCB's departmental legal advisor. Notably, a copy of the transcript had been placed on record by Wankare himself before the Bombay HC in his petition seeking the quashing of the CBI case. According to the union government, the charges were specific and based on material placed on record by the IRS officer himself. The government contended that Wankare had failed to discharge his duties with the highest degree of professionalism and integrity in violation of Central Civic Service Conduct Rules 1964. Now, on 19 February 2026, the CAT quashed the change memorandum holding that the departmental proceedings were vitiated by grave procedural impropriety, malice in law, and abuse of process. The tribunal observed that the charges were vague and indefinite, containing omnibus allegations without material particulars or even a list of witnesses. It further noted that the basis of the charge memorandum formed the substratum of the criminal proceedings pending before the Bombay High Court. The CAT also took notice of Wankhede's exceptional career profile and the accolades he had received during service. It concluded that the decision to proceed against him reflected a predetermined mindset and not application of mind and overzealous alacrity, suggesting that the authorities were bent upon penalizing him irrespective of his merits. The tribunal had further observed that though the Bombay High Court in May 2023 had restrained the CBI from acting further against him, the centre went ahead and issued the charge memorandum. Challenging the CAT order, the Union government argued before the Delhi High Court that the tribunal had exceeded its jurisdiction by interfering at the stage of issuance of charge. It was contended that courts and tribunals should ordinarily not quash charge memorandum unless they are ex facie without jurisdiction or patently illegal. The government also objected to the tribunal's findings attributing malice and motive to the government's action. Counsel for the government submitted that the charges were not vague but clearly spelled out, referring to specific dates, time, persons involved, and case references as admitted by Wankhede in his own pleadings before the Bombay High Court. The government maintained that there was no malified intent in proceeding against the officer and that the disciplinary action was initiated after alleged misconduct came to light. By allowing the government's petition and setting aside the CAT order, the Delhi High Court has effectively revived the disciplinary proceedings against Wankhede. The ruling clears the way for CBIC to continue with departmental action under the Central Civil Services rules. So, as you know, friends, we've been watching the way Samir Wankare has been, working as an officer of the NCB and how he has done his duty diligently. And this is something that nobody is really going to, support any action against such a zealous, officer. So Smita says, good evening, Meenaji. Even this invitee in Vijay Deverakonda, Rashmika wedding, such a disgusting moment. Also, Kejo aunt, how could NCB be so irresponsible? And Parvati says, yes, 100% true with Farah. Every time she mocks her cook, all the time she behaves as a celebrity. Very disgusting. And Leena says, I was thinking Farah Khan now promotes products. Thank you, Parvati. And moving on to Karnataka, where everything seems to be, moving like, some sort of a drama, where none of them really are bothered about what they should do for the people of Karnataka. All they're bothered is about how to make a quick buck. Now, H.D. Kumaraswamy, Union Minister and JDS leader, alleged that the Congress-led Karnataka government is actively tapping phones and monitoring conversations, including those of its own MLAs. Speaking to reporters in Mysore, he claimed internal surveillance within the ruling party had reached unprecedented levels. According to him, several legislators fear their phone calls are being monitored due to internal power struggle in the state's ruling party. So when you, by internal struggle, we know that D.K. Shivkumar and Siddaramaiah are at loggerheads. According to him, several legislators fear their phone calls are being monitored. The allegation is part of a wider political dispute in Karnataka, where opposition leaders accuse the government of misusing surveillance for political purposes. The state government has denied such accusations, calling them baseless political allegations. Amid rising tensions between the Congress leader of opposition R. Ashok on Monday accused Siddaramaiah of using state intelligence to monitor legislators believed to be aligned with the Deputy Chief Minister Shiv Kumar, deepening the party's internal power struggle. So Karnataka is facing a lot of problems and this internal squabble between the Chief Minister and D.K. Shiv Kumar, Deputy Chief Minister. Now, speaking to reporters, Ashok claimed a team led by senior police officer had been tasked tracking the movements and interactions of certain legislators. Already to monitor who all are supporting DK Shivkumar, the Chief Minister has formed a team led by an SP to track their movements. Now, just like how Kumaraswamy used to form SITs against different opposition leaders, an SIT has been set up against them too. It is an invisible SIT without any formal order. They are monitoring who goes where, who meets whom, and what conversations are happening over the phone. You can call this phone tapping too, is what Ashok said. He further alleged that constituency grants and funds for some legislators were being curtailed and claimed the actions were politically motivated to protect the Chief Minister's position. The claims come after a recent birthday party at a private hotel in Bangalore attended by MLAs considered loyal to Shiv Kumar, sparking speculation about shifting internal loyalties within the Congress legislative party. The Karnataka government on Tuesday said it would review whether laws were breached during protests held in parts of the state following reports of the killing of Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and would initiate actions if violations were found. Now, Home Minister Mishra said demonstrations must adhere to established norms regardless of who participates. If they want to stage a protest, they should have done it at Freedom Park. It does not matter even if MLAs have participated. The same rules apply to everyone. We have to think of initiating legal action if there is a violation. Now, what I don't understand is that if you find you want to protest against Khamenei, the best thing would be to go and join them in Iran, where you can join them in the protest. India has not interfered in the war at all, so you should kindly leave the leaders of India to tackle what they have to do without trying to interfere and make the situation larger than it is. Leena says even Zail Singh was scared to talk inside Rashtrapati Bhavan because of Congress. Absolutely. Now, 4 people attacked a youth in Gangavati of Kopal district on Tuesday for his post on the assassination of Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei on Instagram. The victim, Chandrasekhar, hails from Gangavati and is a dry fruit businessman. He posted on social media questioning a section of the society for their silence on Pulwama attack and upsurge on the assassination of Khamenei. It is alleged that 4 youth assaulted Chandrasekhar at his shop in Gangavati on Tuesday and threatened to kill him if he continued posting such content. Gangavati police have registered a case and started a manhunt for his attackers. Chandrasekhar said, "I was busy with my business on Tuesday when 4 people attacked me." So this is happening on the side. And Leena concludes with saying Khamenei was always anti-India and pro-Pakistan. Absolutely. So with this, we end this session. We'll see you tomorrow with a lot more news. Good night. Jai Hind and Jai Shri Ram.